Okay, and also I just look the movie. It's called Don't Look Up. I really like it, And also, I just yesterday I got connected with Jim Anderson. He's the president of the peace movement. We have 3,000 members in the French peace movement, and the American peace movement is 100,000 members. It's not the same scale. And the other things, Alfred, it's American soldier suffer so much from trauma from the war, from all the war. So they are the best advocate for peace because they know the horror of war. So I'm not very concerned about, and also me, I push forward, my NGO push forward the idea of no more army, permanent army for them, and everybody laugh about it. But now, no, they don't laugh about it. And people before they don't connect too much about peace and climate, but now they really, for me, it's really easy to push forward the message because they know now they are in danger, not only with nuclear weapons, but because it's illegal anyway. But they know it. And I don't want to talk too much about nuclear weapons because they talk about COVID all the time, the mass media, for 2 years, and now they are talking all the time. And in France, we have an election, presidential election for the next 5 years, and it was a debate yesterday, Monday. And it was they just talk about war. And they don't talk about, in the debate with the candidates, they don't talk about peace. They didn't even talk about peace and climate. So, Alfred, I want to know, what do you think about what's going on with the budget? Your country has to have democracy. What is going on with the budget of $1 trillion for climate change and adaptation, resilience, biodiversity in your country?
Well, I wanted to thank you, Mr. Lagoy, for bringing up Costa Rica because I frequently mention that Costa Rica abolished its military in December 1948 to spring 1949. They actually amended their constitution to make that a permanent change. And there have been an oasis of peace in a region that has been wrought with coup d'etats and military dictatorships and all kinds of tumult. Much of it fostered by the United States, of course, and its evil influence. But so I cannot understand why Costa Rica is not held up to be a model for the world. They also have a thriving ecotourism industry, and they have a large percentage of the country is dedicated to nature reserves and national parks and so forth. So, and as you said, they have a good education system there, and they have a good healthcare system as well. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense as to why that is not the model everybody is striving to get toward instead of the United States. It looks like we may have lost Mr. McMaster, but now we're getting back. Okay. Anyway, yes, the one of the problems in the United States is that the president always proposes. Thank you. Always proposes a humongous military budget, and then the Congress every time says, "Oh, wow, we need to make it even more," and they actually give the Pentagon even more money than the Pentagon had asked for. So, I mean, I had proposed. I mean, I've been a pacifist most of my life, and I have proposed, like you, that we abolish the military. I mean, people are so brainwashed in their thinking that they think that having a military is a good thing, that it's been sort of inculcated into them by the corporate mass media and education systems. They don't encourage people who dissent or challenge the predominant mindset, and we need desperately to get people to say, no, we don't want this. We want the money reallocated for good purposes, for things like the climate crisis, like free public higher education, like free prevention focused healthcare, like space exploration, and so forth, and not what money wasted on the military. And I know that is considered to be a radical position, but I've advocated that since I was a boy. I said it doesn't make any sense. And some of us with gifted with Asperger's syndrome can see things much more clearly, like Greta Thunberg does, and like I do, and that just doesn't seem to translate to mass numbers of people. I know that in the United States, the Code Pink group has been very active in the peace movement. Medea Benjamin is one of its leaders, and but yes, the corporate media does virtually blacks out any coverage of the peace movement. You wouldn't even know it exists if you relied on solely on corporate media. Unfortunately, they just black it out. But yes, so the budgets, the Pentagon budget approved every year is now I don't know how the exact figures with me, but it's something like ballpark about $750 billion per year that is allocated in that ballpark. And that doesn't include the costs of past wars, because I mean the Department of Veteran Affairs, of course, has all these programs to help with the health care and the housing and education under the GI Bill and so forth for past veterans, which it's sort of a mixed situation, because I mean everybody should be entitled to those benefits, but yeah, it's sort of an incentive to get more people recruited into the military. I mean, they really brainwash people, with these slogans like "Be all you can be in the Army," and all this nonsense that is on the television commercials and at U.S. football games. They are heavily, brainwashing people to this mindset, and we need to stop that. Okay. Good luck. Good luck with your.
The United States, we all know. Hello. And we all know the United States is very far gone. It's like totally out there. I would say there is little to no hope for Canada, United States. They're so far away from reality, from how to live. It's not even funny. It's not a joke. This is serious. And we need to focus on places and people where there's still hope. I have given up hope. My energy is at its max right now. And to talk about this bullshit what the United States does, what Canada does, what these stupid assholes are up to is stupid. It's a waste of energy, like it is. Fuck them. We are here, and like here in Africa, whatever, where Costa Rica, South America, these people, we still have hope. Because we can skip a step. We can skip America. We can skip fucking Canada. And skip this step, and let's, go from there. It's as simple as that. We don't need to abide by what they're saying with their military complexes and all this bullshit. We don't need to do this. We can literally, this is why Africa is such a great continent. They have nothing. Lots of the places here are very poor, and they haven't been through this military complex, what other big countries have. They haven't. And these people, they're also not, very educated. But here in Egypt, you see the young guys a lot. They're deep into crypto, things like this. They want to give a shit like they want to. In America, we don't see this. We don't. It's very sad to say, but we need to forget about it and go to where we can be observed.
David, you cut your microphone. We
Yeah.
can't hear you anymore.
What happened, David?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're back. Good.
Yeah, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Let's work on projects. Places where we can help. If you think you can change a stubborn American mind, try to do it. It will not work. Americans are very stubborn people. They think they know everything. They think they're the smartest people in the world. Same with Canadians. They're the same way. Like in lots of places in the world where I've been, the people are lazy. They don't know how to work because they've never had to work. They have never had to get a job. Why the fuck do we need to get a job and go to work? It's stupid. Go out, water your garden, plant a little food, and you're good. This is how the Bedouin have been doing it in Egypt for thousands and thousands of years. This is what needs to happen. Not arguing about military complexes and things like this. It's a waste of my energy and the universe's energy.
What's happened? Did we lose him?
He make his point. He make his confusion.
He's been cut off by the Americans.
No, he dropped the microphone. He said, "Yeah, that's it."
Oh, did he?
I don't want to waste any more time.
Okay, good.
Me, I still believe. Yeah, I agree, but I still believe there is hope also in the States. They are in bad situation. The North of America is in very bad situation. There is a lot of work to do. That's for sure. That's why I want to go. I will try in California. If it doesn't work, I will give up. But
well, no, there's no giving up. That's just one of the things that I'm totally in agreement with everyone who's speaking here. I'm totally in agreement with what David Hoff just said and with what you're saying. But, one of the faults of all of us, and me included, is we continue to talk about nations. Nations, instead of talking about, as David has just been talking about, peoples. I was also in the Middle East, or at least I was in North Africa, and you're in Central America. And he's also in Africa. So, we have a perspective, and I agree with everything that everybody's talking about. We have a perspective that actually the resilience of these societies, these peoples, is much higher. The resilience in the event of horrible things happening, not only climate change, but short-term things like nuclear exchange or even just conventional war. I'm in a complete agreement with David of that is in Egypt, that the West, Canada, USA, and so on, many people will perish. Many people will perish in a short period of time from famine, from all kinds of things, because they're not competent people. And whereas in North Africa and Central America, the people are competent. They are able to find food and water for themselves and for their family and for their friends and their neighbors and their community. They are able to do it. They've been doing it for thousands of years. It hasn't really changed that much. But as David was also saying, in the West, we're full of shit. We're bullshitting about our importance. And as a consequence, we are, and I'm in England right now, I'm in Scotland, we are in a bad way because we are incompetent. We're focusing all our attention on, Ukraine and nuclear missiles and all that. It's like we have to, we're not taking responsibility. ISR, individual social responsibility. We're not taking it. We're not changing our relationship with the governments and the political parties and so on. We're not doing it. We're going along with them. And that was my point. My point was forget countries. Just stop participating in the military-industrial complex. Stop participating in it. And you have to know how to do that. And I'm totally in agreement with everything that's being said. I'm only asking, okay, what's the next step? Because it's not about information. There's a lot of information out there, but it's not received in a way that people take action on it. Yeah. So anyway, hope everybody's fine.
Life goes on.
What's that?
I just said life goes on.
Yes,
life goes on.
absolutely.
You know, nothing really changes at the end of the day. You know? Like it does. You know, we're in the cycle of history, and it's all the same fucking bullshit over and over and over and over again. You know, we look back thousands of years, you know, there's these patterns, and they keep repeating themselves.
Yeah.
They keep repeating. Do people change? No, they don't. They're fucking all full of shit.
I agree.
Right now I'm in a state, you know what, I'm going to make sure I'm good. I'm going to make sure I have milk in my glass and bread on my table.
Right.
And you know what? Everybody else can get fuck them.
Right. Well,
I'm not going to waste any more of my energy. It's stupid.
Well, you're putting your energies into alternative to this system, which is a fantastic thing to be doing, because you doing and your friends doing like these NFTs and all the rest of it, all this sort of alternate economy is the resilience that is going to help people who have no clue about how they're being helped, but it will provide an escape from the craziness.
And this is kind of exactly my point. This is kind of exactly my point. You help yourself first. Make sure you're in a good position to be of service to others. If you're a weak guy on the street, you're useless.
Totally.
You're no good.
Totally.
You need to be a powerful person in this reality. You need to have strength. You need to be strong. You need to go out there and give her shit. And if you do not do this, whatever, you're just like everybody else. You're no different.
Totally.
You gotta fucking go. You know, I know I'm young and I have a lot more energy than most people, but you know, I am so tired of fucking people, you know, saying, yes, we need to do this. Yes, we need to do this. Go out there and do it yourself. You want to be president of the United States? Run for fucking president, okay? Otherwise, shut the fuck up and do something. It's as simple as that.
Individual social responsibility. Bingo.
A wake-up call from Egypt.
Yeah. Totally. It's great. I mean, imagine if more and more people heard that message and realized there all are alternatives. They're not easy. They take a certain amount of courage. You have to get up off your ass and move it. You know, that's Earth mobilization. That's a weapon of mass inclusion. Not mass surveillance, not mass collusion. It's masses waking up that there are alternatives to the repeated pattern. The repeated pattern is going to kill us. And so in Conscience Land, let me say one thing finally, is this is the principle of Conscience Land. It's up here. And if we can get more voices, like the Davids that are on the calls, if we can get more voices to speak up, you know, look up, stand up, speak up. You know, this is our only hope. Yes, we have to look after ourselves first, and that's absolutely true. and we have to make what we're working on attractive and understandable to more and more people. Maybe not the masses, because it's pretty hard. But if you get 3% of the people changing, you can change the entire other 97%. So it doesn't take that much. It just takes leaders like yourselves. Do it actively, energetically, in cooperation with real people in real situations, like North Africa, like Central America. Make that happen, which you're doing, and let other people see that they could also be heroes. They can also be well regarded, respected in this critical time. Yep. This has been a good Sustainafest. I can't hear.
Yes, sir.
Turn on.
No, I'm going to have to work on my bike to get ready for tomorrow.
Okay.
So I just want to. It was also for me. It was very good to. I'm very happy to see you again and to get some energy and good ideas from you, and also a clear situation of where you are, what you are doing. Okay, and then David, thank you for bringing you some hope about coral, because I was in Guatemala, I was in Honduras, and they have the second largest coral reef in the world. We really are in danger. So. And I was in Panama, and it was the same. They are the scientists about sea life. They are very, very depressed. They cannot sleep. So if you say that there is some hope, that's for me. He really helped me. Okay. And Alfred, David want to leave you alone, leave you in a big shit. I don't agree. Okay. David is careless about Canadian, and I care about Canadian, and I don't care about Canada, I don't care about US, but I care about you, Alfred, and I care about Philip, and I care about Canada. So I know
Canadians.
It won't be easy. It will be a lot losing my time, my energy, but I think they really need some hope too, David, and because they are in a big shit, like you say. So after 2 years, US has been the worst country with the worst health system. The life expectancy has been reduced like no other country in the world. So it doesn't work. So I think they really need some hope, David. You cannot abandon them. So that's why I will try. If it doesn't work, if they don't listen, I will give up. Because maybe also I have my limit, but I really want to try, David, because US, it's.
I understand what this means,
and I will try to go to Quebec.
We should not give up hope. We should keep moving forward, and wherever we are in the world, whatever kind of nature is calling us, we need to trust our hearts, and if our hearts say yes. We need to focus on Canada or the United States. Yes, please, let's do this. My heart right now is saying I need to focus on, the Sinai here in Northern Africa, and so this is what I do. This is what my heart is telling me.
Beautiful.
And it's just that simple. If your heart is telling you to go to the United States, you have my support, you have my appreciation, and you have my thanks. And whatever you need, electronically, Facebook, Instagram, things like this, I don't know, I'm good at computers. If you need any help, if you have any ideas, shoot them out to me. If I agree with the ideas and it's something I can work with, I will help you. Everyone here, anyone that approaches me.
Fantastic.
I have my assistant.
Love to you all, okay?
Yeah, thank you, David. And just before you go, and anybody goes, let's not talk so much about countries, right? Like the Canada stuff, or the USA stuff. Let's really think carefully before we open our mouths and say Canada or US or Ukraine, and just add people. It'd be better not to even mention the countries and somehow talk about citizens, people, because really, I've been saying,
right. We should be talking about
human beings.
Not countries. We should be talking about humanity.
Stop talking about governments.
Life.
Yeah.
Should be talking about life.
Yeah. And David, you were doing that. You were saying, USA can go to hell. I agree with you. But I don't agree and you don't either, that the US people who live in what is considered to be the United States right now should go to hell. No, none of us want that. So that's the conscience land, little bizarre way of thinking that we're trying, or I'm trying to get happening, right? Is that there's not this nationalistic narcissism. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm trying to do. Is say we've got to stop. We've got to stop lumping everybody together we just got to stop lumping everybody together. We're all individuals, and we all have our own little mycelium mushroom sticking up out of the mycelium. We're all little pieces of consciousness popping up and doing our best. Most of us are doing our best. And if we can somehow, through the concept of conscience land and the conscience verse, if somehow we can make these changes in who we lend our hearts to, who we support, who we express our love for, if we can do that, no kidding, we can change the world. We really can. I'm very confident of it. And take a look, at extinctionsolution.com. Take a look. Look at the blog. I just wrote a blog about the jokers, the comedians that are informing the world and are running the world. Let's take a look at them. And look at the video that I posted about, it's not my video, the video about the simulations, the war game simulations, not by actors, by the real people that are involved in these types of simulations, the decisions which are life and death decisions for millions, actually billions of people on the planet. We have to know this. We have to begin to see this and realize that this is real. This is the reality. And of course, we have to put 99% of our energy, 80% at least, of our energy into our families, our neighbors, our community. That has to happen. Don't waste, like David was saying before, don't waste your energy on the politics, on the military-industrial complex, on the mainstream media narrative of manipulation. Freedom Wednesday today. Move yourself, extract yourself from that situation. And again, David's not online anymore, but both Davids are offline. But David was also saying we've got to get off our media addiction, our Facebooks and where we are now on Facebook and RS. We've got to break that very destructive, very anti-community, anti-social behavior. That addiction, it should be called an addiction, which is what it is. We've got it. It's like shedding a heroin addiction or shedding cocaine, or I don't know even what those addictions are, or alcohol. it's very, very hard to do because we're tempted with it all the time. But if we continue to go down this road and be influenced by TikTok and Twitter and these messages through these mediums, wasting our time away and not dealing with the reality of the people who are hurting right in front of you, the people who you could help simply by having a dialogue, simply by giving them a hug, simply by being a nice person. Forget the politics, forget the religions, forget the divisive concepts, intellectual concepts, and forget this idea that there's real borders around countries. Come on, I've said this 100 times already, 1,000 times maybe. Countries don't exist except for humans. They don't exist. The birds, the bugs, the worms, none of them respect borders. None of them. We're the only ones that are requiring a mandate, a passport or permission to go from here to here. How is that? How is that?
Well, it makes no sense. I have been saying that for decades. In concert with you there. I just don't understand why. Passports are needed at all, but yes, it's kind of neat to have your stamps from different places to show where you've been, but it's requiring it, and they're quite expensive to get too.
Which passports?
Passports are, at least in the United States, they are.
Well, let me tell you something I asked about just recently. Yesterday, I was with a few people, and I said, what is the opposite of activism? And I'll ask you, Alfred, what is the opposite of activism?
Indifference.
Well, that's a nice answer, but it's pretty good. Actually, that's a very good answer. That's a new one. I didn't hear that one. But that's right. You're right. The opposite of activism is indifference. So if the opposite of, what's the other thing that indifference is the opposite of that I talk about often? Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember, and I do apologize for not being at the meeting 2 weeks ago because I was facing eviction within minutes, and I barely was able to get through that. It was quite harrowing, and I apologize for having to miss the meeting.
No apology.
I don't know if there was a meeting last Wednesday or not.
Yeah, there was. But don't apologize. This is not the place. The apology is well regarded and accepted, and I feel sorry for your situation, of course, and anybody who's being, punished and evicted from their home and so on. But there's absolutely no need to apologize for anything because we're all in trouble, and we're all trying to find ways that we can work together. We don't have to work together. We work in concert. We have to globally work in the direction of sustainability. The overused word of sustainability. This is why I asked the question, and I'll answer the business about, what's the opposite? Like I said, you said the opposite of activism is indifference, which is brilliant. I often say, what's the opposite of love? Love. What's the opposite of love? And that's the answer. The opposite of love is indifference. Well, that's a fantastic thing that you've just brought to my attention. Love and activism are together because they are the opposite of indifference. Both of them are the opposite of indifference. This is important for people to realize. the activism is love for people, for the world, for the community, for your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. Love is the thing that binds. Indifference is the thing that separates. So at whatever scale we're operating, right, we need to use lifestyle of voluntary effort. Conscience land. The lifestyle of voluntary effort is the love and the activism that we express, we share, we develop, we encourage. This is how the world can be potentially repaired. It's certainly divided now. Don't have to mention countries. We can even just mention people. People are divided now within countries, severely divided. Am I trying to promote division? No, the exact opposite. Who's trying to promote division? Look around. Who is trying to promote division? Well, the media, politicians, military, industrial complex. These are the ones that are promoting division. And that's the opposite of love. Period. It's very simple. And the activism that I hope you're not afraid of the word activism. In the government of the country that I was born in is saying activism is a bad thing. The prime minister said nasty things to people that happen to be driving trucks, but actually it wasn't just people driving trucks, it was just citizens of the country who were actively active in their civil disobedience, their disobedience. They were actively disobeying what the prime minister was dictating that they had to do. And he was calling them names, and he was invoking images of Nazis and so on. This is unconscionable. This is not, first of all, I think it's illegal. In law, I think it's illegal what he did. But even if it's not illegal, it's not right. You don't have the leader of an entire nation say one group is a bad bunch of people because they disagree with me, and that everyone else should point their arrows at that group of people and stop them and punish them and freeze their bank accounts. And anyone who would support their point of view, freeze their bank accounts too.
Well, as you know, I disagree with you on this point, and I hate to agree with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on just about anything, because I mostly despise and detest him. He's much worse than his father, but he is. I might not have phrased it quite the way he did, but they were trying to promote public health, and the truckers were trying to.
Who were trying to promote public health? Huh?
Well, people allied with Justin Trudeau.
That's a political. That's politics.
Well, no, it's public health, because they were trying to get people to
you don't understand the system, my friend. You think that the president. You think a prime minister is a president. You think a prime minister has power to dictate policy. He does not.
Yes, I understand the Canadian system.
Okay. Then you can't say what you just said. What you're saying is you're saying that he had the right or the legal right.
Well, he certainly
Yes,
had
listen,
the moral authority.
He had no moral authority, but and anyway, you get moral authority through support of your followers, and it's in a democracy that's called referendum, voting. You know, there's a citizens' assembly relationship with the governing entity. No, you're. I'm sorry, Alfred. You're misled. You don't understand the actual law, the procedural law. And in fact, it's not even a Canadian law. It's in the British Westminster, it's in the Hansard from like 1650 or something. There's all kinds of, you know, legal structures in nation building that people have really very little idea about. Why? Because they read comics and they watch American movies. And so they think that, you know, there are rights of people and there's rights of governments and so on, which actually, if you look into it, if you are honest about it, actually much of that doesn't even exist. But there is one thing that is existing, and that is the system, which I don't fully agree with. In fact, I largely don't agree with it, but it is the system. And that issue of the Canadian Charter of Freedoms, Rights and Freedoms, we lost you. Okay, we lost somebody. Unfortunately, we lost Alfred. He's blinked out of existence. But anyway, I'll continue to speak because I think there's some people online here. Hold on. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, yeah, very, very. This is some nice messages on what is it, on YouTube, I guess, or Facebook. And Jeannie Bradley saying, "Hi, Philip. This is the year the Amazon will reach its tipping point. Will it die off? Is the question, I guess. And more forest fires ahead, and it started yet because it's so dry. Yeah." Damien Harkins says, inaction. Yeah, it's because of inaction. Let me see if I can roll this up. Diplomacy and give and take, a little understanding. Yeah. Freedom, and so on. So there's some nice comments in the Facebook. What I want to continue with, I guess maybe we should shut down the Zoom because we're not on the Zoom anymore. Yeah, I think we've lost our Zoom. So we'll end that. Let's see. Okay. We'll end the meeting for all on the Zoom. And then what we'll do is, maybe we'll just continue here. Okay, folks. So this is what I would like. It says still live on Facebook. And it's still live, I believe, on YouTube as well. So what I will just finish up with was the conversation. First of all, you're here on Change Wednesday. Let me see if I can make this bigger. You're here on Change Wednesday, and Change Wednesday is the day we do three things. We smile, we change, and we unplug. So, and this is also not only Change Wednesday, it's Freedom Wednesday. This is sort of a newer development in Conscience Land. We had the name a long time ago, but now it's the time to speak about freedom. Forget countries. As citizens of Conscience Land, what you're doing is you're realizing that we do not worry about the countries, these dotted lines on a map. We have no control over that. As we're born into a certain area, we have no control over the country in which we're born. No control. We have to either conform or be kicked out or killed off. So we don't, in conscience land, which is all up here, we don't talk about countries. We talk about peoples, people of the area. Turtle Island, I don't know if you know what that is. Turtle Island is North America. For the Aboriginal peoples in North America, some of them refer to it as Turtle Island because they believe the world is built on a turtle and the turtle, is supporting the world and their world is Turtle Island. Wonderful. What that does is it gives us a chance to describe an area that is populated by both Americans, Mexicans, Spanish, Canadians. They're called Canadians today, but there have been British and there have been French, and actually in the other order there have been French and then British. There have been colonizations and so on. The borders have moved around. This is my point. The borders have moved around for forever, right? So we have to understand that the borders of Canada and the United States are important to maintain today because of trade, because of military, because of, Americans are very afraid of Mexicans and Central American people coming up into their country. But I would caution people who have this thinking that walls, the same thing in Israel and Palestine, that walls do anything except temporarily keep one group on one side and another group on the other side. Walls always fall. There was a wall in Berlin, between East and West Berlin. Things change. People change. Situations change. Governments change. Change is inevitable. But actually the essence of people doesn't change. As some people on the Zoom call were saying earlier, people who love their children, and what parent, there are some parents, I understand, that don't love their children, fine. Vast majority of parents want the best life for their children. It's for sure. So, what are we talking about? Oh, every human family on the planet is wanting their children to live a better life than they lived. So how are we doing that? Are we doing that? And the fact of the matter is no, we're not doing that. We are not making the lives of our children better than we found it. Right? We're not doing that. Remember too, on this Change Wednesday, Freedom Wednesday, and Sustainafest, right? It is also, today is also the third Wednesday of the month, and usually we have what's called Sustainafest, a festival of sustainability, and we did speak about it earlier on the Zoom call with David, who is in not only David in Central America, but also another David who is in Egypt. Okay, I shouldn't say Egypt. I should say Middle East. Okay, but Northern Africa is actually better. North Africa. So, so these two gentlemen spoke about what they're doing and how there's kind of festival-like activities amongst nice people and friends and people they're meeting and activities they're doing and teaching children at local schools and developing new forms of exchange of monetary actions. So this is great. This is fantastic. That's conscience land. It doesn't have a border. It's up here. Conscience land is in your mind, and it's with the people who are also sharing conscience land. Right? So that's what we're doing. Today's Wednesday. We focus. Smile. Smile and make other people happy. Change. Change something about who? Yourself. You can't change other people. We know that. You can force them with a gun, but does it actually change them? No. You take the gun away and they go away, and the people do the same thing they were doing before. Right? So so change is personal. Right? So smile and make other people happy. Change something about yourself. Right? And the third one is smile, change, and unplug. The third one is unplug. Unplug from this world that is addicting us to the cell phones and everything else. Extract yourself from that other world for a moment and come back to your family, come back to your friends, come back to the people who you really actually care about. Now, if you don't have any friends, I would say one of the reasons that you don't is because you are only on, Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and so on. You're spending your life on that, and you're not spending your life learning the negotiation skills and the getting along with people. You're not, and if you're male or female or whatever gender, if you are also looking for companionship, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, whatever, if you're looking to have people care about you, you pretty much have to care about them. And maybe not them specifically and only. You have to care about the community around you. That's how people become attractive. People are attracted to people who care about not just themselves and not just the object of their love or their attraction. People care about people who understand that they live in a community, they live in a society, they live in a group. And if that person is accepted in the group, well, they're much more attractive to the others in the group. And if you're a guy looking for a girlfriend, if you're a very caring person who is actually putting their energy into improving society, let's put it that way. You don't have to be working at a food bank all the time. You could be an entrepreneur creating something, hopefully a sustainable enterprise, but you could be doing something, in your local community. Maybe it's for the purpose of making money initially, as long as it's sort of from the right direction and it's not harming the community and or the environment. That's good. That's great. We need entrepreneurs, and that is a gift, right? You're doing an entrepreneurship. You want to make money. You want to get the fancy things that you want to get, but you're doing it in a way that doesn't hurt other people. And sure, you make money, and that's great. But maybe you're also improving society. Maybe you're creating jobs for other people. Hopefully, again, it's in a sustainable way. So that's what makes you attractive to the world. And of course, if you're a boy looking for a girl or a girl looking for a boy or any mixed or matched, setup, you clearly are a member of one or the other of the groups. Right? So you're either on the sort of receiving end of kindness or you're on the giving end of kindness. And that's the dynamic that we need to promote in the world. We don't need to promote more dominance and power and subservience and I'm more powerful than you, I've got more money than you, I have more fame, I have more likes or TikTok viewers, whatever. That's not important. You think it's important, but it's not. The creativity is fantastic, right? And the expression of freedom, the freedom to express those ideas is also fabulous, fantastic. You sort of test out on people what they respond to, but there are some dangers with that too, because, I think that we, we're so controlled by the algorithm. We're so controlled by the, what causes people to click and like and stick with something for longer times. And it's not really that the content is there, it's that the trickery is there. I'm sure you've seen, I don't want to get off track too much, but I'm sure you've seen these videos on Facebook and so on where they're doing nothing. A girl is about to take off her clothes, or they're just about to cut the hair off somebody, or somebody's hiding somewhere and it's a surprise, and they drag it on for like minutes, or many, like 15 minutes, and nothing, in the end, nothing happens. Or they're making a pizza with color. It's all of these deceptions. They're only to keep you on that channel, on that thing for a certain long period of time. And it's only the algorithm that realizes that it calculates this, and their ratings go up. Not because it's any good, not because you are taking a critical, a view of this and liking something that is good. It's because they've tricked you, they've addicted you, they've pushed the buttons of addiction. And it's not just these scammers on Facebook. It's the world. The media is doing this. The governments are doing this. The phone manufacturers are doing this. The Facebooks and social media is doing it. Everybody's stealing your time. And you don't think you have any time left because you're investing all this time in these things. So for Change Wednesday, this is one of the messages that we try to get through on Change Wednesday. And I think that it's also important on Change Wednesday to understand that there's many threes, right? The three virus, right? It's going out there just like other things. The three virus is the meme, is the viral idea of freedom, right? And in order to achieve that freedom, you have to commit to some principles. And those principles include, the three essences of conscience land, which are, for example, do no harm. That's number one. Do no harm. The second one is do not fear. Do not fear. Pretty much everything, including all these nuclear weapon things and conflicts between countries, it's all about fear. They're getting you to watch the news and watch the live streams of nothing happening because they know that you're in fear. You're fearing for your life. You're fearing for your children's futures. And it's a very primal emotion, fear. And they know how to tap into it. And they're causing that fear. They're causing us all to be upset and doubting ourselves and doubting our own power. So first one is do no harm, right? So do no harm. Don't go around killing people. Do not do this. Even in your actions, even in your purchase behaviors. Don't go around killing things through your purchase. The obvious one is meat. The other things are products that are made from products, animal products and so on, or plants that are using the soil in the wrong way. Or, it goes on and on. It's a very, very deep rabbit hole. But we've got to begin to think this way. Otherwise, those resources are not going to be around anymore for your children. So do no harm is really important. It takes a lot of thinking. It's not just about physical violence in the immediate area. The harm that you're doing is your consumption. And that's clearly we're harming the earth by consuming too much. The second one is do not fear. And we are harming not only ourselves, but we're harming each other in fear. We are fearing the other. We're saying, oh, that other one is dangerous, so we move away and we don't care about them and we wish to punish them. Right? So all these illegal acts that are happening in the Ukraine, for example, again, conscience land, we're not supposed to be talking about countries, but it's shorthand for what's happening now in the Baltics. Let's call it the Baltics. That's not really Baltics, it's the Crimea. But anyway, what's happening is fear mongering. The third element, the third principle is leave it better than you found it. Now, clearly what's happening in that area of the world that we're discussing is leaving it worse than they found it, right? Clearly. So are they supposed to be doing that? No, don't do that. Don't hurt people, don't instill fear, and don't leave it worse than you found it. Right? But we have to do that ourselves too. We can't keep leaving situations worse than we found them. And that's what we're doing. We're expressing our opinions, and we're influencing our families, our close group of friends, whatever. We're influencing them, and we're leaving the situation, in many cases, worse than we found it. We're instilling fear. We're instilling hatred. We're instilling the doing of harm. We're saying, punish those guys, hurt them back. They're hurting my friends, hurt them back. And, in this 2022, we got to grow up. We can't go around like schoolyard bullies forever. We've got to grow up and realize, well, it's a Christian idea, but, turn the other cheek. Just look, you got to love your neighbor, not because you love them and you want to be with them. It's because you need to not escalate the situation through your reaction to it. Right? We have to negotiate. We have to discuss. We have to reach an agreement. Not everybody agrees. And it's not black and white. It's not me, I'm right and you're wrong. It's all perspective anyway. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. The only way to calm down and live in peace is to speak. And it's happening. I mean, it happened in my country. The prime minister wouldn't speak to the protesters, the activists. And so what happened? It very, 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 very much escalated. Right? So that's not good. Very bad. Right? And that's nothing compared to what's happening in Eastern Europe. Right? That's hot war. People being blown up. People on all sides. Right? Is it political? Yes, it's mostly political. I get that. Should we be bombing people? No. Stop it. Stop bombing people. Stop blowing people up. Stop shooting people. Everybody, everyone, stop shooting. Should we be arming the local people? Well, here's where I am a realist. Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because it's like any of our communities anywhere. We have to take ISR, individual social responsibility, for our lives and for the lives of people who we care about. So if it requires, because you can't do it with sticks and stones, you can't do it bare-fisted, if it requires a gun to do this, well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, today, even though it's pretty ineffective against a tank or certainly a nuclear missile, even though it's somewhat ineffective in most people's hands, I'm of the opinion in these kinds of circumstance that the individual person protecting their family from an obvious, clearly demonstrable threat, and they're probably going to die with that gun in their hand, but they'll die on their feet defending their family and their community. That, all through history, is noble. That is noble. Now, going and attacking somebody, not so noble. For a cause. Oh, I believe in this or this country or this leader or this whatever. Going and participating to murder other people with the authority of your leader is not, well, there's no authority there, no moral authority. So there you go. In conscience land, we're not saying there's no violence. Of course there's violence, but violence begets violence. But what we're trying to do is say, okay, the first priority is our communities, not the global control of communities, but the communities themselves. where you get your food, where you get your water, all of those things are, um, those things are the things that make a difference. I'm just going to try to open my, my, where is it? Is it here? Oh no, that's March. Okay, sorry, I got a little bit distracted because I'm online here, but I'm not knowing whether I'm actually broadcasting or not. So I apologize for that. And we have, so thank you so much for anybody who's endured and talked about, joined us here on Change Wednesday and Freedom Wednesday and the Sustainafest. And the Sustainafest part of it was David was talking about his teachings with little kids, and they were so, he enjoyed the experience so much because it gave him energy, it gave him hope. Seeing little innocent faces absorbing his message of peace and harmony and fun and freedom made him feel good. And that's important because for us to continue with our whatever it is we're doing, we need to feel that we're doing the right thing and that we're making a difference. So that for sure is great. And then another David who was on the Zoom call was relating how he's doing things in, again, the communities he's with, and again, to mention countries, well, peoples, that there are Russians, not Russia, Russians and Ukrainians, not just Ukraine, Ukrainians and Russians working together. They're not in Russia or Ukraine. They're outside of Russia and Ukraine. They're in North Africa. But they're working together to do things, make things happen in the blockchain space and so on. And also, it's a fascinating project he's working on, which is growing coral, giving each coral an NFT, giving it an identity, and then putting it into maybe some new places, but also growing on the older coral to give it more life. Right? So farming, in a way, or planting anyway, it's like planting trees on land. They're planting coral in the ocean, in the Red Sea, and they're doing it with each of the corals that are planted are actually an NFT, a non-fungible token. So it's very much like what Conscience Land has been talking about in plotting, and it is perfect. It aligns exactly with what we've been talking about for years. So I'm looking forward to more and more projects which are doing exactly this. Making the world a better place, but not as a global entity, not globalized, not from the Davos boys or the World Economic Forum or any kind of centralized, tyrannical, centralized thing. No, everything is decentralized in Conscience Land. The freedom that we gain in Conscience Land is through our personal relationships with our community, and as a community, our relationships with other communities based on partially based on their good behavior, right? Your good behavior, their good behavior, you're in alignment for the direction you want to go in the future. But you may be completely different languages, you may be completely different cultures, completely different religions, completely different people, but you're aligned for the future. You are part of the solution. And all these technical solutions, I'm not so confident that we'll have the resources to make these technical solutions come to pass. But, there's nothing to say that communities can't also support these things. Governments are not supporting them. Governments are spending the money that they are collecting on Trident submarines. They're spending it on military industrial complex. So your support of the governments is not doing anything for you much, but it is supporting the oil industry and the military industrial complex and politicians themselves and their yachts and their mansions and stuff. That's so you're think about where your money's going, and if you if you think about it for a little while, and then you just stop conforming, then there's a good chance that we're going to really have a decentralized world, very interconnected, very communicative, if we can still have internet. But if we don't have internet, it's not going to make it. If for instance the internet or the technology collapses, even temporarily, or is disrupted by cyber attacks and all the rest of it, if you're not in your community, you will perish. You will die. If you don't have a plan B, if you don't have a backup from the country, from the job that you're doing right now, and the dependency you have on the state, the dependency you have on these things, if you don't extract yourself from that, or at least move in a transition, in a way of transition, you will, if the internet goes down, you'll be completely caught. You'll be dead. You will have had no preparation. You'll have no relationships, no connections, and you'll be standing there saying, "Hey, help me," and nobody's going to help you because you didn't help anybody else, right? So there you go, folks. I think it's time. Oh, we got 3 people watching. That's nice. Please make any comments. Let me see if I can open this up to see the full. How do you open this up? It's not funny. I'm so technically not capable. Let me open this. Open. I see there's some messages from people. I want to. Let's see. Yeah, I can't kind of figure out how to see the. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Really sorry about that. It looks like I'm I'm sort of lost in these different feeds that I've been making. Let's see. Okay. Okay, great. Oh, you see, people said that they were coming, and they did come. Oh, that's wonderful. There we go. We're back on live, I think. Oh, no, that's an earlier one. Okay, well, look, everybody. I'm sorry that I've messed up a bit on this feed because I don't seem to have the information, or the capability is better put. Okay, so thank you, everyone. It is the time to close this down, and thank everybody for sharing Change Wednesday. If you would, please subscribe to Conscience Land YouTube, and anything else. You could also go to extinctionsolution.com and yeah, take a look, because, oh, here we go, live now. I found it. Yeah, please please share this. Maybe not this whole video because it's quite long, but give an idea of what we can do. You see, I'm really lost. I see this, what's called ManyCam. I see one image on this, but I don't see. Oh, I don't see what's on YouTube. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this is terrible that I leave people in the lurch while they're while they are kindly watching what we're doing. Let me just see one more time if I can go to my channel and see. No. Oh. Okay. No, I think it's the same thing. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. It is Change Wednesday. It is Sustain a Fest, the third Wednesday of the month. All of these things, and it's Freedom Wednesday as well. I would love to have more conversations with people. This monologue is hopefully is somewhat interesting, but it's not what I'm actually going for. What I'm going for is your ideas. I want to hear what you're doing, your ideas on how we can do it better. Some people have offered even today to help us with the technical aspect. These are the things that we need. We need help. But the idea is still clearly something I think that people can get behind. And that is that conscience land is in the mind. It does not respect any borders. It doesn't have any borders to respect. And the Change Wednesday is about smiling, changing, and unplugging, making the world a better place from your perspective. And the principles of conscience land are do no harm, excuse me, do not harm, do not fear, and leave it better than you found it. If we could simply follow those principles in all languages of the world, if we could simply follow those principles, we could really make a big, 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 big difference. So thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Be nice, be kind to people, be kind to animals. Try to leave it better than you found it. In support of all peoples who are under terrible circumstances right now. And remember, they're not only in what's on the news, they're also in places in North Africa, in Africa, in the Middle East. There are people suffering in war and attacks and so on all over the world. And we want to protect them all, not just the ones that are currently on the news. Now, I understand that this is a very, very serious thing, and it must be immediately halted. There must be an immediate ceasefire. but it's not to say, like, we can't say that that's the only thing in the world. We've got to stop them all. Stop bombing everybody. That's what we have to do. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and let's stay in touch. Please, if you can, go to extinctionsolution.com. Join us. Put your email in. Get a proper, protonmail.com. Get a proper encrypted email. You don't have to tell us who you are. Just join up, right? That's the important thing, is because we won't be on Facebook probably much longer, and we won't be on any of these platforms because they'll all fail, right? So we need to instead have other ways of communicating with you, and that's how we're going to do it in the future. So thanks, everybody. See you later. Let me see if I can turn this off now effectively. Let's go. Okay.